Hi, I'm Dave Connor with Pinellas County. If your house is in a flood hazard area and flooded during the hurricanes and you haven't gotten a letter saying if it's substantially damaged, you don't have to wait. Here's what you need to know and do. First, substantially damaged means that the cost to repair your house is more than half of its value. The actual percentage depends on the floodplain ordinance for where you live. It's usually either 49% or 50%, and it's often called the 50% rule or the substantial damage rule. If a house is substantially damaged, it can't be repaired without meeting current floodplain and building code requirements. In most cases, that means elevating or replacing the home. Each city is responsible for determining whether a home was substantially damaged. The county is responsible in the unincorporated areas. The county and several cities joined together to request help from the state in doing these inspections and assessments. That partnership is providing extra software and staff to help handle this workload. But the county and the cities are each making their own substantial damage determinations. A lot of emphasis has been put on the letter that will tell you whether your house is considered substantially damaged, but don't just wait for the letter. Here's some things you can do now. First, consider whether you really want to repair your home or look at other options. That's a hard call, but it's important to think about it carefully. I'll talk more about that in a minute. Second, find out what your house is worth. Just the building, not the land. You can spend up to about half of that on repairs. Third, find out what the repairs will cost. You'll need this in order to get permits and to show that your repairs won't cost more than that substantial damage threshold. Let's look at each of these more closely. First, do you really want to repair your home? At first, that may sound like a ridiculous question, but if you don't want to deal with flooding again, your best path forward may be to elevate or rebuild. If you have flood insurance and your house is determined to be substantially damaged, you may be able to file a claim to cover some of the increased cost of complying with the new building requirements. And usually that's an additional $30,000. But here's the thing. You only have 60 days after you get your substantial damage letter to apply for that coverage. So you have to look into your options now so you're ready. Building a new house or elevating your home is not an option for everybody, but it definitely is the safest path forward, and it's most likely to give you the best property value in the long run. And if you build a new home, you can build a house up to 10% larger than your old home's size and keep paying your former home's property taxes. If you increase the size by more than 10%, you'll pay higher property taxes only on the square footage above that 10% increase. And on an elevated home, your flood insurance premium should be lower. Not to mention the peace of mind you'll have when you don't have to start hauling things out of your home the next time we have a hurricane headed our way. If you decide to build new, you can work with your local building department to determine what temporary repairs you might be able to make to safely live in your damaged home now until you're ready for construction. Once you've considered elevating your home or building a new one, if you decide that you want to repair your home and you think that you can do that for half of its value, you need two numbers: the value of your house and the cost of the repairs. If you want to repair, you're going to need these numbers regardless of whether the letter says your home was substantially damaged or not. If the letter says it was not substantially damaged, you still can't spend more than half of a home's value on renovations or improvements in a flood hazard area without meeting the current floodplain and building code requirements. If the letter says your home was substantially damaged, you'll need these numbers to ask for a reassessment. So, how do you get these two numbers, your house's value and the cost to repair it? There are several ways. To get the house value, go to the Pinellas County Property Appraiser's website at pcpao.gov and look up your address. Use the tool to generate the FEMA WLM letter. This will give you the house value and the amount you can spend on repairs. If you think the number's too low, you can ask the property appraiser for a reconsideration or hire a private appraiser. But if you hire an appraiser, be sure you get a commitment that they'll use the required guidance at pinellas.gov/appraisals or the guidance provided by your city. Otherwise, your appraisal may not be accepted. Next, for the cost to repair, get a detailed estimate from a licensed contractor or use the cost breakdown worksheet at pinellas.gov/storm permits. Just be aware that for the purpose of estimating repair costs for the substantial damage rule, you must include the value of labor, even if you plan to do the work yourself. If you determine that you can complete the repairs for less than 49% of the value of your structure, then submit your information to your local building department or the county's Building Development and Review Services, depending on where you live. They'll use this additional information you provide along with the inspection data to do a detailed assessment of your house and determine whether it is substantially damaged, regardless of what the initial assessment found. So, to recap, you don't have to wait for your letter. First, think about the options that would protect you from future flooding, such as elevating or building a new home. If you decide to do this and you get a letter saying that your house was substantially damaged, submit the letter to your flood insurance company to file a claim against your increased cost of compliance coverage. Then, work with your building department to determine what temporary improvements you could make if you want to live in your home until you can start construction. Second, if you want to repair, or if you're not sure, get the value of the structure of your house. Third, get a licensed contractor's estimate of the cost to repair your house to its pre-storm condition, or create your own estimate. If you can show that you can return your home to its pre-storm condition for less than 49% of the value of the structure, or 50% in some cities, then you can submit that information to the building department that serves your area. We know this is stressful. There were more than 33,000 homes damaged during these storms in Pinellas County. A lot of people have been displaced, and lives here have been turned upside down, including my coworkers. Everyone wants this to be over with. The difficult reality is that every community that participates in the National Flood Insurance Program is required to follow these guidelines carefully or risk losing flood insurance coverage. It's going to take time, but don't let that stop you. Evaluate your options, get your numbers together now, and you'll be in the best position to move forward. For more information, visit pinellas.gov/SDSI or your city's website. Thank you.